Things are looking good so far. All right. Cool. So, where were we? Well, I was talking to Ellie, and I forget what the last thing I asked about was.
Just about me going on other podcasts and kind of if it's weird or not.
Is it weird being in the passenger seat?
Sometimes, yes, because I'm so used to taking the reins and like really guiding the conversation. So sometimes I have to remind myself to just like sit back and relax, essentially. Yeah. Just like sit back, relax. You don't have to stress about where the conversation's going or like jumping in with questions to move it in a specific direction.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do have to remind myself, but it's kind of nice sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, unless you get like car sick or whatever the podcast equivalent would be, you know, where it's I don't know where this is going. Oh no.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to just prepare myself for whatever comes my way.
Yeah. Yeah. We are live streaming right now to 3 different platforms. We have our number one platform is volume.com. So you can find us at volume.com/the Keeg show. That's where we draw the chat from. But we are also streaming to twitch.tv/the Keeg show, where we have Naira McFly. If I'm saying
that's
that
my friend, Naira.
Naira. Hi. Naira says Ellie is amazing with multiple G's.
Facts.
I love you.
Nobody on this show is lacking in the amazingness.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
The whole reason you guys are on the show is because you guys are awesome. So Naira says hi, and then nobody's on YouTube, but that's fair. It's a Saturday afternoon show, so more people, I think, tune into the podcast than they do the live stream. But this way, they get to see our faces, and, that's always cool. Anyway, we're here to talk about Peacemaker, specifically Season 1, because in a previous episode, we talked about the 5 episodes thus far. Now it's the 8 episodes that comprise Season 1. And for those of you who listen or watch the show, you might know my thoughts up to Season 5, or Episode 5. My theories were wrong. I'll say that. And that's why I need to come on here and say, I'm sorry, my theories were wrong. You
led them astray.
I led people astray. I had theories galore, but I want to know your guys' thoughts. So that's why you're on this episode. But we're going to start back in the beginning. Peacemaker is an odd character, not only in this show, but previous to this. Peacemaker was a Charlton Comics character alongside characters like Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, that sort of thing. You may know Alan Moore's Watchmen as a parody of those Charlton characters. So Comedian, which was Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character in the movie with the cigar and the mustache and whatever, he's technically Peacemaker in a weird way. DC Comics wouldn't let Alan Moore use those characters, the Charlton characters, for Watchmen in order to just like kill him off or whatever. So he created his own parodies of these characters and then did Watchmen, which went on to be like one of the most influential comics of all time.
Yep.
But did anyone have any comic book related knowledge of Peacemaker before, I guess, the Suicide Squad? Ellie, you know?
No.
Yeah, like
not
what
at all. I had none.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, I feel like I was aware of the character Peacemaker in the comics, but I never was interested enough to actually dive in and read his comics whatsoever.
Right.
I was like, okay, well, he exists.
Right.
On to the next.
Also, he just had a dumb-looking helmet. I hate
That's his uniform is, even with the show, I will say, as much as I love the show, I still do not like his uniform. I don't, it's not the vibe, but
it's so campy. It's very comic book.
Yes.
Comic booky, which is, it's funny because we're so used to almost like a modernized take on the costumes, but this one sticks true to the classic look, which I like, but also I'm like, it does look a little dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People always wonder, or at least, okay, sorry, let me back up. Back in the early 2000s, when they were trying to make superhero movies, people didn't like superheroes in the way that they liked it now, right?
Agreed.
So they also realized that, like, okay, some of these stories would be cool to show on screen, but we have to modernize it and make things realistic. So the X-Men had black leather instead of their individual suits. And of course, Blade is always in black leather anyway. Great. Like, he's an easy one. That was an awesome movie. Moving on. X-Men. Spider-Man came around where, like, Spider-Man was Spider-Man. And then Daredevil comes around, and Daredevil's in red leather with, like, this, like, weird-looking mask. And they had to make it realistic. And we've gotten to this point where, like, even Marvel started out kind of realistic and then worked
like
their way to,
Cap
like, comic
suit
accurate
from
stuff.
Avengers. Yeah.
I hate the Cap suit from Avengers.
Everyone does.
It's not his
That's
best
like
one.
universal.
It
No.
is so weird. It is so weird looking.
It's so weird. Even Chris Evans, I think he had like an interview to where he was saying like, yeah, that one, I'm upset that they made me wear that.
Yeah.
It's very impractical.
Yeah.
Why do you say impractical?
Well, no, I don't want to say like completely like 100% impractical, because when you look at it, is, for example, like his very first suit in First Avenger, I remember I was doing a lot of reading into it, and there are a lot of elements of the suit where it's just a showcase suit.
Yeah.
It's just a suit to kind of like wear, and, you know, when they were using him for propaganda, there's a lot of elements of it that don't benefit him when he's actually fighting, which is why his suit in particular, I've enjoyed watching evolve throughout the show, because it becomes more and more a suit that he can actually fight in comfortably, and it doesn't like limit him in his abilities.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. Maybe I missed a split sec. Are we talking Peacemaker or Captain America?
Captain America.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Captain America in the MCU, like, his suit really went through a thing to the point where, like, in the last couple of movies, he's not even wearing a mask or a helmet or anything, right?
No, it's just a full combat suit.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the mask, so I was like, I'm glad it eventually came off, because again, it would mess with his like vision and his, like, line of sight.
Yeah. Well, in Endgame, he had it. He had the helmet, but
that's right.
I mean,
I feel like that was just totally paying homage to just the history of Captain America, going back to his roots.
Yeah. Jay Phrygian is out there saying the homie justice up there, I had to come through.
What's up, Jay?
So there we
he
go.
said he'd come through, and he did.
Yeah. It's always nice when that happens, right? When people say like, hey, you having a party tonight? Yeah, you know, I'll drop by. And they drop by. Versus, you having a party tonight? And then the next day, hey, sorry, I couldn't make it. I found someplace better to be. So it's like,
but it's like an hour in the party, and you've texted them like twice, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm sick."
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, dude, you're bringing the ice? It's like, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the comic, like the MCU, we have to give credit where credit is due, regardless of whether you like the MCU or not. And I feel like most people like the MCU. Great. But like the MCU really evolved their costumes over time. They went from realistic-ish to more comic accurate stuff. And what we're realizing now as like a movie-going audience is like, we're buying into these costumes now. Right? Peacemaker, all the costumes in the Suicide Squad, we're like, okay, they're ridiculous. But that's kind of...
It's somewhat appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Vigilante suit, like totally like straight out of the comics, but I was into it.
His costume was probably one of my favorites in the show.
Vigilante?
It was a really nice costume.
Yeah. It is a really good costume. And I mean, we'll talk about that actor in a little bit, but like there are some breakout performances in this show.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
I was like, this is probably my favorite part of the conversation, are all the side characters.
Yes.
I'm like, everyone did great, but I'm like, the side characters, the way they shined Wow.
Yes. Like James Gunn literally gave every single character a moment to where like the show was like they stole the show basically.
Right. James Gunn is a great juggler.
Yep.
He can juggle
Yes.
these characters, give each, like, rotate people in and out, and kind of give them a moment to themselves, a moment to
Yeah.
shine, and do that sort of thing, which we saw in rewinding, we saw it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Right?
time.
Did anyone see James Gunn before Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't think so.
I
I saw Sean Gunn. I saw his brother in movies and like
Yeah.
TV shows, but I think when it comes to James Gunn, it really was Guardians.
And that's fair.
Where I really got to see his like skill and talent.
Yeah. The only things I never saw him before Guardians, but like I know, he's done like Slither, and he did Super. I guess Super might be the most mainstream one, which is Ryan Wilson. Is it Rainn Wilson or Ryan Wilson?
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
And Elliot Page in that one. And I heard it's good, but I never got to watch it. But that, I guess, is his most mainstream stuff. He was kind of on the indie circuit for like the longest time.
I think, I feel like when he got into Guardians, that was his first like major picture that he was working on.
And it seems like Marvel is kind of known for that, to where they kind of bring in, I feel like at the beginning they brought in more known directors, but I feel like over time they've kind of started to gravitate towards the more indie type directors, bringing them into these big projects.
Right.
Because like
it's worked out well in their favor.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Completely.
I mean, the two best picks that they've gotten, in my opinion, I can broaden it from there, Taika Waititi and James Gunn in the MCU, right? And then even like expanding off of that, the Russo brothers, they have a style that like not everybody likes, and I get that you can critique them. I like the Russo brothers, but they started off with doing comedies. Community,
like their work on Community,
Arrested Development,
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly,
who would have thought?
Yeah, and that's
not
what's
me.
and that's what's so crazy, because I remember when after they made Winter Soldier, I like started looking into their stuff, and I was like, wait, they were again, like they wrote episodes of Community and Arrested Development. Those are straight comedies. Like there's not much drama around those shows. So and those are like, again, like sitcom shows, not that sitcom directors or anything, there's anything bad with that. Like, but it's just the fact that I saw, okay, well, they only really have experience with sitcoms, to then come and make arguably one of the best MCU movies ever with Winter Soldier. I'm like, it blew my mind.
Yeah. What I think we're learning is that, or at least MCU is learning, Kevin Feige is learning, those people are learning, is that don't just hand over the reins to quote unquote tried and true people like Joss Whedon. Because even though you're tried and true doesn't mean you're good or that you're a good fit.
Justice League.
Right. All his behind the scenes problems.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, don't hand the reins over to somebody who feels like they have nothing to lose. Yeah. Because then they kind of, dare I say, abuse their power, because they've been in the industry for so long, they could do whatever they want. So Joss Whedon pushes his weight around, versus people like Taika and James that realize that their big break is their big break, and they have to behave. And they've behaved for, however many years now, because they're, but Joss Whedon, not so much.
No, not even close.
No.
But like Russo brothers realized that was their big break. Taika, James, that's their, like, you gotta make nice with the Marvel people if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
James Gunn juggles all these characters in Guardians. He does Guardians Volume 2. We all fall in love with a talking raccoon and a talking tree.
Yep.
Why would we? That's so weird. We
didn't think that would ever happen, but it did.
No.
Right?
No.
We never thought that, like, we would understand, oh yeah, a living planet becomes a human. guy,
Yeah,
you know?
and for that to like make sense and
Right,
be
of
like an
course.
emotional element of the story.
Right.
Yeah, he really takes outlandish things and really grounds it and
Yeah.
puts a lot of heart into it. And that's really difficult to do, especially when it's comic book material, because
Yeah.
there's so much where you look at it and you're like, how would they put this on like the big screen? Like,
Right.
how are
Yeah.
they going to do that?
Exactly.
Right. With James Gunn doing Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like he rolls it back a little bit, or you think he is, in The Suicide Squad. What did you guys think about The Suicide Squad?
Oh my God, I loved the Suicide Squad. It's
Me
so
too.
good.
Me
We
too.
don't talk about the 2016 Suicide Squad.
No.
I'm like, the Suicide Squad really was a fantastic reboot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And probably one of my favorite movies that came out last year.
Yeah. And it's a
Yep.
soft reboot, right? It's technically in the same continuity.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like technically because we have some characters coming back. Like obviously we have like Amanda Waller, we had Rick Flag, Harley
Mhm.
Quinn. I mean, honestly, how can you not add her in? She was probably the best part of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
got her own movie.
Yeah.
Having her back for this one it had to happen.
And I'm pretty
Right.
sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Harcourt and Economos, weren't they in the original Suicide Squad too? I think that they were.
I don't
No.
think so,
You
because
don't
they're
think?
James
No, they
Gunn
weren't.
friends.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I mean, Harcourt specifically, but then also I think David Agee is also like David Agee's James Gunn friend. Harcourt is James Gunn's
Fiance
Wife.
now.
Fiance now.
Yeah, fiance. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know her name. I forget her name. I'm
Jennifer Holland, I
Holland, I
Okay.
think.
think. I think that's her name.
blanking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they've been dating a while now. I
Yeah,
remember
for
looking that up a
years.
couple years ago. And so, good for them. Did you know that James Gunn was married to Jenna Fisher from The Office?
I learned
Yes.
this yesterday and I was
I
like,
was shocked.
what?
Yeah.
I read that a few years ago, and I was like, I had to do a double take. I was like, Jenna Fisher,
Yeah.
the Jenna Fisher from The Office, and
Right.
yeah, I was shocked. I was
Yeah.
shocked.
And it was for a while too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when they broke up and everything, because back then The Office was big. So it's like, oh,
Yep.
who's Jenna Fisher married to? This one director
James
guy that
Gunn
does,
guy.
who cares about him?
Yeah.
I remember back then when I was like, okay, James Gunn, who's this James Gunn? And then I saw a picture of her and Fred Armisen hanging out. And I was like, is this guy James Gunn? Because I wasn't watching SNL at that point.
Fred Armisen. is
I thought it was
James
Fred
Gunn.
Armisen. I
That's
was
so
like,
funny.
this guy.
That's so funny.
Because they were like,
Yeah.
hugging each other in a picture. And I'm like, okay, so this is that James Gunn guy. Turns out that was Fred Armisen. And you realize that James Gunn and her didn't have very many pictures together.
Yeah.
They must have kept it pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And didn't want to just be in media as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Especially,
it seems like a lot of Hollywood couples tend to kind of want to do that, which I don't blame them.
yeah.
Oh, right.
James Gunn's kind of counterculture, though. He's sometimes to his detriment, especially with his weird ass tweets and stuff. But the point being is that like
I love his Twitter.
except
Yeah.
for the tweets that got him in trouble, right?
Oh, okay,
He
yeah,
almost
no,
lost his career, but I think
that was a crazy time.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Marvel drops him, DC picks him up right away. Then Marvel says, "I'm sorry, come back."
Mhm.
He's doing both at the same time, plus the Peacemaker show. He's working on
He's
Guardians.
killing the game.
Yeah,
He really is.
but he's gonna finish
And-
up with Marvel, and then he's just going straight back to DC.
And I honestly feel like this next Guardians is probably going to be his last movie with Marvel, because DC has given him literally everything he wanted. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like DC is allowing him to like, he was already like doing really well with Guardians, right? But I feel like DC is giving him that creative freedom to literally do what his heart desires. And so I think he'll end up staying with DC. I think they're a good fit anyways.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Mm.
What did we? Okay, so going into Suicide Squad, or like finishing up the Suicide Squad, which was an awesome movie. We see
Mhm.
Peacemaker. We see John Cena, who did an amazing job in the movie. I was not expecting that. And but at the same time, at the end, we hate him, and he kills Rick Flag. Spoiler alert, but I don't know who's watching or listening
at
to
this
this
rate
episode.
if you don't know this.
Yeah, if you don't know this, you're behind.
And at the
we
time,
did you a favor.
Yeah, when the Suicide Squad came out, we knew that Peacemaker was getting his own show. I thought it was a prequel because they weren't telling anyone what the show was about. So people were
thought it was too.
I thought it was going to be a little like history into how he before he got put away.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a sequel because he lives at the end.
Yep.
What were your thoughts about this show at that point? Positive, negative? Something we were looking forward to?
Post-Suicide Squad?
No, Peacemaker show. Once we knew that, once we saw the Suicide Squad.
I don't know. I feel like I was just confused. Because, again, I was, after ending the Suicide Squad with how his character did what he did, basically ending that movie as him being one of the big villains in the movie, I was like, okay, so why are we about to make a TV series about one of the villains?
Yeah.
I was like, Bloodsport. Let's do a Bloodsport. Let's do a Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
Let's do one of them. Why Peacemaker out of everyone?
I was in the same boat because, man, I hated Peacemaker. Oh man, I hated him so much. And then I don't know if this is me loving the actor or the character, but I loved Rick Flag so much. And I was just devastated that he killed him. So I was like, why are you giving him a show?
Right.
Yeah.
But when I learned that James Gunn was going to, how dare you? But when I learned that James Gunn was, doing the show, a part of me was like, okay, I know it's going to be good, but I don't know if I'm going to love it. I'll still watch it. But since I don't have that love for the character, I knew it was going to be something that would be a little tough to swallow.
Yeah. I remember, because again, I think the news came out that he was going to be making the Peacemaker show before the Suicide Squad even dropped. I think it was a month or so before. So I was well aware that we were going to be getting a show about his character. So when I was watching the movie, I wasn't expecting his character to be the villain. So then when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I don't know how he's going to be able to make us root for this character. This guy who, again, killed Rick Flag, who is a widely beloved character. And I didn't know how he was going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Within other characters who I don't want to say we didn't care, but with other characters that we either didn't know, or characters we didn't really, that were in the Suicide Squad, but we didn't really care about that much.
When I go into a lot of these, I go, and this seems cynical for me. I'm not a cynical person, but when it comes to these comic book movies, we've gotten so many now that I have to ask myself, why should I care? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I care because it's a connected universe, and I care because of that. But if it's not a connected universe, why should I care? Then it needs to connect with me, right, in a way. Mm-hmm. And so why should I care? This show made me care in ways that I never thought I would.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. By the way, I should correct myself from what I said earlier. Mr. Plow in the comments says Steve Agee. Yes.
Oh.
I said Dave Agee. It's Steve Agee. I got the V right, but Steve Agee.
You were kind of close.
Yeah,
and he's Economos, right?
He's Economos and motion capture for King Shark.
Yeah, which is crazy. I remember seeing those pictures, and I was like, he's kind of pulling a Sean Gunn.
I like that.
I love
me
it
too.
So much.
I like that James Gunn does that. He's like, okay, you're gonna play a live character, and then you're also gonna do motion capture for another. So,
yeah,
cool.
And this is a side note, but I also love the fact that James Gunn is a real stand-up guy, to where he brings his crew everywhere with him, and gives his crew, even the people that he's worked with for a long time, these moments to shine in this exposure, because he's giving all this exposure to one of his career-long friends and his fiance. He's helping their careers.
Right.
like he's using his like what he has to help lift the people around him up, which I think is great.
Right. I mean, that being said, his fiance part screams to me like nepotism, but the fact that she does the job is fun.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she can do it. She can do it. So it's not like, you know, she can't do it. So that's fine.
No. Yeah.
I think what's best about him is he's showcasing faces that we don't normally see, or like faces that aren't A-list faces, and then he's also showing people of color, and he's putting people of color in there, which I think is a responsibility that directors should do. Unlike Wes Anderson, who says, "Oh yeah, whatever," or like Tim Burton, who says, "Oh yeah, people of color don't really fit my aesthetic," and it's like, your aesthetic,
and I'm like, what? What does that mean?
He said that?
Yeah, and people were like, your aesthetic is death. Do people of color not die? Like, it's like, what?
We're invincible.
Yeah,
we're invincible.
I mean,
clearly.
Yeah.
Like, fine by me.
You know, but like, what's your aesthetic, man? What? Anyway, the point being is like James Gunn is like, oh no, like he's putting people to the forefront.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I really liked that. Like that was a huge something that I immediately was a standout to me, is the fact that he had like people of color, people of different minority groups. The biggest couple in the show was a lesbian couple of color. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like this, it's really groundbreaking if you think about it, because watching that show, I can't really think of any, maybe a couple, but like not very many big, especially comic book shows, to where you have that much, representation.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I personally think it is a responsibility. And some people go around being like, nah, my responsibility is just doing a good movie. And I get it. But you could do a good movie and have representation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you think that good movies are only when you have the cast of Friends, you know? Like, okay, I guess.
Those are.
It's like anyone of color is just gonna hold my movie down. I think that. Like,
So I'm like, that's BS.
Yeah. The actor who plays Myrn, and I looked his name up because I want to say, I don't know whether I'm going to pronounce it correctly, but I want to include everything. Chukwudi Iwuji is the actor who plays Myrn. He's going to be in Guardians 3.
I'm excited. Because I remember hearing James got him on, and then after just seeing his performance in Peacemaker, I was like, oh my gosh, you are going to be a fantastic addition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't know exactly who he's going to play. Rumors are that he's going to be the High Evolutionary, which is such a wackadoo character, but it might fit into Rocket Raccoon's origin. I don't know.
And
there's a lot that we don't know about Volume 3 yet, so it's going to be really exciting once more news comes out about the plot.
Yeah. Also, there's a holiday special.
I'm stoked. That's this year.
I think he's filming both of them.
Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time. So it's probably an hour-and-a-half holiday special or something, you know, and then, you know, then we have Guardians 3. So we'll see how that all goes. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the show as it is. Again, we have a previous episode where we talked about the first 5 episodes. So I will stay relatively quiet on this. I want to know your guys' thoughts about this show. We just finished season 1. What was this show like to you? Ellie, I'll let you go first.
So at the very beginning, I still had a lot of like uncertainty about the show, and I still wasn't completely sold on it. And I mean, okay, gotta first of all talk about that intro to each and every episode. I'm like, that is a no skip intro. You need to watch it all the way through every single time.
Yeah.
But like the first couple episodes, I was like, okay, I'm liking it. I don't love it. But then I kept like picking up. I love that, you know, we were getting that history and that kind of background on like Peacemaker and his character and just his story of how he came to be and his relationships with others. And just by literally episode by episode, I fell in love with the show. And by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I love Peacemaker, like the character and the show. But it was just a surprise all the way through because I really had no idea how I was going to feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I feel like, and I'm kind of glad that he did also release the first 2 episodes all at once, because I feel like
Was it
if we
2 or
were to
3?
have gotten, I think it was 3, wasn't it?
It might have been
I don't
3.
remember.
I think it was 3.
Do not remember.
I
don't
was
remember either.
on a trip at the time it released, and I got back and I'm like, what? I'm 3 episodes behind now? What?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it? I had to catch up.
And then you realize it's just been a week since it's been out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
think it
confused.
was 3.
Yeah.
I think it was 3. But yeah, I'm glad that they dropped the 3 episodes then initially, because I feel like those 3 episodes kind of solidified it for me to where I was like, oh, this show's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like after watching the first episode, again, kind of like Ellie, I was liking it. And James Gunn, though, like, honestly, the humor was hitting a lot for me from the very first episode, because something about his writing style and his humor is really similar to mine. And so I feel like he was pretty spot on there. But as far as like building up the characters and elements, like I feel like by episode 3 we had a good idea about each individual character and what where potentially their arc could go. And so once I kind of knew that, that's when I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
How does episode 3 end? Because it's hard.
I just watched it.
My memory's so bad.
Yeah, because it all blurs together. That's the problem.
Was episode 3 when they went to go kill the senator and his family because they had the butterflies?
Yes.
Was that
so
3
that's
or
when,
2?
No.
Remember?
2
Because episode
was...
4 is when Vigilante goes to jail. That's episode 4.
Okay, so maybe. Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure episode 3. Yeah, no, you're right. Episode 3 ends when they kill the senator's family, and then they kill
see
the senator,
butterfly,
and they see Goff. Yeah, and that they realize, okay, that's what the butterflies are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, it's a literal butterfly.
Yeah.
Wait, I was literally just watching a recap video earlier. That's how it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was literally rewatching the series yesterday, and I'm like, wait, huh?
Yeah, because episode 1 I know ends with the fight between Peacemaker and that one girl that he meets at the bar.
Yep.
Who he just randomly meets, but that's to show like butterflies are everywhere.
Yeah.
But butterflies like sex. Like they're not
Apparently.
just on their climate change thing. They're also like, yeah, let's hook up with humans.
Yeah. That was an element of the show I was like kind of found interesting, to where it was the fact of like these butterflies are like extraterrestrial, like they're aliens.
Yeah.
But like they also have like these human like desires and wants and emotions.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, which I guess we kind of got into too, because with rewatching yesterday, there's like a specific scene you might not remember, but like when Mern, since we all know that he was a butterfly, where he's talking to Economos and talking about how he never really expressed his emotions, and then started expressing his emotions, and then he's like, yo, you never told anyone that you were cold before? And he's like, no, is that an emotion? And like that whole banter. But yeah, I found that interesting, to where it's like, okay, they're aliens, and I would expect them not to express emotions, but then they're having sex. Like,
yeah. Well, was she emotionless when she was having sex? I don't remember.
They didn't really.
They show.
We see it.
We saw.
I know.
Don't we see it pretty like?
We saw.
Yeah. No, I forgot. I think it was like just like a few seconds though, and then it like transitioned into like the next scene where we have him like looking through her music.
Yeah.
Seeing what was there.
The way I'm
I
trying
was trying to think back now.
I'm pretty sure there's a scene with her over the sink, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But the focus is on Peacemaker, and Peacemaker's obviously like he's the focus. And I can't remember.
Honestly, I don't think she had any emotion.
Yeah, I think
don't
she was
remember her
taking.
having emotion.
Yeah.
I think she was just there.
Yeah. And then, because again, the focus is on Peacemaker in that situation, and then like they go through all the music and the bands. By the way, I don't have any I don't have a history or experience with like hair metal and like those type of bands and stuff. I don't know what's real or what was made up for this.
I know.
They
I
all
was like,
seem
that kind of music usually isn't my energy.
Yeah.
So I was like, this could be a real band. It could not be.
Yeah, this could
I'll
be
never know.
completely made up.
Anyone out there want to go like if anyone's out there that knows hair metal and those like 80s bands, I don't know whether they were just made up for the sake of the show.
Honestly,
I don't think so.
I think they're real
Yeah,
because
they're
I mean,
real.
again, this is James Gunn. Music plays such an important part in his movies. I remember I
Yeah.
was like reading a thing with like Guardians because the Guardians soundtrack is one of the best
Yeah,
parts of the
Hands
movies.
down.
Right.
And I was reading about how like he doesn't choose the music before the writing or anything. He curates the soundtrack based on what's going on in the scene and what's going on between the characters. So using that context, it has to be real bands. It has to be real, I don't know, just real people.
Yeah.
Because it plays such an important part. And clearly music is a very important part of this character and what he really enjoys. So it has to be.
I mean, I grew up with I guess I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately. I'm a big music person, and so I grew up with my mom. She was like a singer, but she showed me the whole range of music, including the 80s and these different hair bands. So yeah, all of them are real.
Yeah. I mean, and now that I'm thinking about it, if I was directing something and I wanted to put like music from like the 2000s or 2010s, people would be like, Chameleonaire? That doesn't sound real. What kind of name is Chameleonaire? What? And it's like, okay, I get it. The one hit wonders, we forget their names, and then we're like, or like some people don't only know the songs, but they don't know the names, and they're like,
yeah.
There's a guy named Chingy.
Yeah, Chingy, yeah.
What? Why would that? Nobody would be named Chingy. Who would name their son Chingy?
Like, honestly, there are some very interesting band names.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I have my teacher from elementary school was a major like metalhead.
Oh.
You look at this man and you would not expect him to enjoy this kind of music. But this one time I had to stay behind to work on a project. And he's like, oh, like, do you guys want to listen to some music? Because there was like me and like 3 other people there. And we're like, yeah, sure. We're thinking, I don't know, he'll pop on some like top 20.
Yeah.
Like pop
which is the
music.
standard.
I don't really know, something standard. And he's like, I'm going to put on my favorite band for you, 9 Inches of Blood. Oh. And we were like, what? Wait, what? We're like, what is this? And like, sure enough, real band, real music. It was an experience. So there's some interesting names out there.
Right.
There really are.
Like, who would have thought Puddle of Blood, or not Puddle of Blood, Puddle of Mud.
Puddle of Mud, yeah.
Like Puddle of Mud being that's a band. Yeah.
Honestly, at this rate, I'll believe it. It's like people going on TikTok and putting out some like fake scenario that happens on Riverdale.
Yeah.
And I believe it. it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
That would totally happen.
I feel like anything's possible with Riverdale.
You could say the most absurd thing and I will believe you. I'll be like, yeah that makes sense.
I don't
Someone
watch
was
it,
like,
but I'd be like,
as a joke on TikTok, they were like, Veronica was never real. She's been a ghost this entire time. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even doubt it for a second.
I don't want to get too far into the Riverdale thing, but like I heard like somebody talking. They were like, "This is real. This is the final episode of last season," where it was like there was like an alternate Riverdale like dimension.
Yeah, Riverdale.
There's a multiverse of Riverdale,
and it's like then they crossed over, and then that's why like I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to Peacemaker on this one. The characters really make this show. The plot was really good. Mm-hmm. The characters make this show. What are
character driven?
What are some standout characters?
Vigilante.
Yeah.
Vigilante.
I love Freddie Stroma.
I never knew Freddie Stroma until now. I mean, I guess I saw him in Pitch Perfect, but I don't remember him in Pitch Perfect.
I remember
He was
him.
in Harry
He
Potter,
looks really
too.
good in Pitch. Yeah, he's in Harry Potter, Cormac McLagan, and then he's
Wait, what?
in one
He's in
episode
Harry
of
Potter?
Yeah,
the
I didn't remember
Half-Blood
that.
Prince. He's infatuated by Hermione, and he's very creepy towards her. But he's also in one episode of Game of Thrones. He plays
Ooh.
Dickon Tarley.
Which season?
You are not nowhere close to it. It's
Okay.
like, what is it, like, I think season 6, I think you see him,
Okay.
but he's only in one episode. He didn't continue playing the character just because in conflict in scheduling.
Schedules, yeah.
But oh my god, I love this man. when I learned he was in Peacemaker, I was like, yes. I love Freddie.
When I saw his face, when I saw his non-vigilante face, not his dorky glasses vigilante face, but his face in real life, I'm like, I want to hate this man. I just want to hate.
I want to hate this man.
I want to. I can't.
You can't hate him, but you want to. No, I get it.
I think it has to be episode 3 from what we were doing when they're locked up in the thing and they take off the mask and he does these like weird faces.
Oh my god. Like, he's like, if I keep like switching up my face, he won't recognize me in a lineup.
Yeah. And that's how it is with Vigilante, is like he should be in prison. Like, I know that he went into prison, but like he should be there just because he's a menace to society. He's not safe. But like, I love him and I root for him. Like, big time.
I
know. The fact that like him and Peacemaker talk about like when do they talk about this? Peacemaker says like I'm not racist, and they're like and they're like it's like, and then Vigilante goes, I kill mostly like almost all white people. And
yeah.
It's just like weird talk about like race and crime in a weird, irreverent way. It's so weird.
And that was definitely a strong theme too that kept getting brought up, which again I loved because like facts. But like I feel like it was constantly brought up, like even on the first episode where I'm blanking out the janitor's name, but
I know I'm missing on his name, but I know
Rizwan. Well, I mean the actual janitor's name. The actor's name is Rizwan Manji, but I don't know what the janitor's
his character's name.
Yeah,
I don't know his character's name, but like at the beginning, the first episode, to where his kind of back and forth with Peacemaker, and how that was brought up too, to where like, well, the ratio is suspect, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I promise I'll start to kill more white people. That makes you feel better.
That's a start.
Yeah.
How does James Gunn weave actual social commentary into his comedy? It's so weird.
I thought
really
that too.
Good at it.
It's
like
his the biggest thing opposed to like the character development arcs in the show was the writing for me. Like that was a huge standout. Is the writing was just, it was great. It's some of the best writing I've seen with a comic book show for a long, long time.
Yeah. We got Johnny, Marvelous Johnny, in the chat. Marvelous Johnny says, hey, what's up? He also brings up, and this is worth talking about, it's funny that they were speaking on race issues, but kind of leaned a bit too much into Asian stereotypes with Judo Master. Hilarious character, but I still question the use of the character. I'm trying to figure out something specific. Johnny, let me know if there are any specifics that come to mind about Judo Master. I know that there are... Did you guys have any thoughts about Judo Master as a character?
I would agree with what... who was it that said that?
Johnny.
Johnny, yeah, I would agree with what Johnny said. That was something that did kind of... that I did notice, it's more so with my rewatch of it, was how, you had the social commentary that was like, in support, but then there was still like the stereotypical aspects of the more so Asian characters, because even like with Detective Song, granted, I mean, white White Dragon, like he's racist. We all know that.
Right.
But still, there were like certain elements to that to where like there was another person too that made an Asian joke towards her that it kind of felt a little odd and unnecessary.
Did Vigilante or Peacemaker say something?
I think it was Vigilante. Yeah, because he called her Oriental.
Like it was Vigilante.
Oh,
yeah,
the Oriental line.
Yeah, but then I guess Hardcore came in and kind of like defended her. Yeah, so actually that was made up for.
They corrected, right?
They corrected him.
So
explained why.
The question is, with this commentary, let's just say that specific situation, is it all right for, in a character's point of view, to say something off color as long as it's corrected, right? Like, is it okay? Vigilante says Oriental, then is corrected, and then it's not like he continues to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, because I think that's the point. I think because like when Hardcore and Adebayo came in and was like explaining why it's a bad term to use.
Yeah.
I think that was the whole point of what James was trying to put in there, to where it's like, oh, you're saying these words, but this is why you shouldn't say it. And so it made the person saying it look stupid, because they are for saying it.
Right.
I think in that sense, it's kind of just like reflective of real life. If you have a certain perspective, you can educate yourself, or like, obviously it's up to you to educate yourself, but other people may take that chance to be like, hey, this is why your perspective on this or your viewpoint is harmful. And it's that education aspect of it. And in like Peacemaker, it shows that like this character and I don't know, their experiences in life have allowed them to have this viewpoint. So they say things like this, but showing like, hey, this is why it's wrong. Like, this is why it's not okay to say it. Is almost just like mirrors reality, because we all know people, we have all seen people who say things like that and they don't see what's wrong with it.
Exactly.
I think there are movies and directors out there where a character will say something off color or just outright racist, where the director will come back later and be like, oh yeah, that's just their character. There's like, why wouldn't they? Of course, that's how people speak.
Yeah.
Without doing a thing where, and I think it's the director's responsibility in one way, shape, or form to say or allude to it's not right. Because like,
which is what.
Sorry.
Sorry. But I was gonna say, which is why. This is, I guess, a little bit of a fast forward. But like with Vigilante and the whole scene, because I guess with White Dragon in like the first episode, he was saying in the second episode, all the episodes, he was saying some fucked up shit about people. Like specifically in the first episode, where he's like, maybe you can do some good, kill some blacks, kill like all these different people. And
very homophobic, very racist.
Yeah, and there was like no real like, I guess, rebuttal to that. In that moment, I was kind of like, that didn't really fully sit right with me. But then fast forward to with Vigilante, with Vigilante coming in the jail, and then speaking facts there, that kind of turned it for me. And so I'm glad he eventually got there. But for a moment, I was kind of concerned, because I was kind of feeling that with White Dragon's character, to where he was saying all this shit, and it's like, I get that he's a racist, but like, this feels a little much.
You don't need to like keep pushing it. It's like, okay, we get it. This character is very homophobic. He's very racist. Like it's like, we get it.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep bringing it up.
Some writers will do that. Some characters.
They're like,
oh,
in case you missed it.
Yeah.
In case it wasn't obvious.
Some directors, some writers will do that when they're writing racist characters, Nazis, KKK members, whatever, as an excuse just to be like, what are just some like really bad words that they can say? And then just kind of understand that there's no weight to that. I mean, sorry, there is weight to it, but they will think there's no weight to it. That bad characters speak bad things, and like,
it makes sense. It's how it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Without kind of doing showing that you or yourself are not in support of it.
It's got to come like full circle. Like a lot of it is so it happens all the time in movies and TV shows where it's almost just linear. It just keeps going. Like there's no end to it.
Right.
But I'm like, no, you got to bring it back around.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to like bring some like education, like educational aspect to it.
Yeah,
Right.
like you can't just be having them say these things and be like, oh, it's their character, because that's basically saying, okay, well, I can say the N word because I know a black person. All right. And like,
Yeah. Marvelous Johnny says the detective was utilized well. I do want to talk about Detective Song. But just that Judo Master was an Asian accent away from being a full-blown caricature. I would say Judo Master, I agree with that, but also Judo Master just didn't get any development anyway, other than being a Judo Master for hire. You know? Essentially, like, Judo, we didn't know anything. Even when Judo Master's like, oh, you have it all wrong, or whatever Judo Master said before Judo Master gets shot, right? So, like, we didn't even understand, like, why Judo Master was on the butterfly side.
Exactly. I wish we kind of got that background into that. Like, how did he even get involved?
Yeah.
Like, what is his story?
Yeah.
Inside this entire plot.
Yeah.
Because even in the finale, we saw him at the farm seeing like all the dead butterflies, and he's like crying and eating his chips.
Yeah.
But I loved how that
Cheetos.
was the running theme. with
I know
the
every
Cheetos.
single time we saw him, at some point, he always had a bag of Cheetos in his hand.
Yeah.
That's a mood. I mean,
Yeah.
he's bulking up. He's got to stay fit. He's got to get those carbs in.
I would say that I would be surprised if Judo Master didn't have a bigger part in season 2.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Hopefully, like, fingers crossed, because I would like some closure on
Me
that
too.
front.
Right.
Me too.
Detective Song was awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I don't know whether you guys do the mental gymnastics, and I'm using that phrase incorrectly, but when it comes to body switching movies or whatever, you're trying to like really immerse yourself and be like, yes, that is Jamie Lee Curtis in Lindsay Lohan's body. Lindsay Lohan in Jamie Lee Curtis's body. I'm trying to like really immerse myself and see it as that. When I saw Detective Song die, I was like, and like, I know she's getting taken over, but I'm like, that's an Asian character dead. But then I also have to realize that's an Asian actress continuing, but now getting the opportunity to play 2 roles now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing where it's like you killed that character, but the actress gets to go play 2 characters now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys get that way with like mind control stuff and like when like Mystique is on screen when it's like X-Men, realizing that it's a new actor playing Mystique, but it's still Mystique the character. It's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
or like
wild.
Loki would do that too. Like
Yeah.
when he would switch. Yeah.
It's I love seeing it, because it also, in terms of the actor, it really is an opportunity for them to just showcase their abilities
Range,
as well. And it's so much fun to kind of get the behind the scenes, kind of take on, like, for example, like in Harry Potter, the Deathly Hallows, when we have like Emma Watson, her character Hermione, takes the polyjuice potion to become Bellatrix. And I remember seeing the behind the scenes for that, and they were talking about how, like, Helena Bonham Carter watched how Emma Watson would act out the scene.
Yeah.
And so then she could portray it that way, as if she, so it was clear that, this is actually Hermione.
Right.
But we see Helena. So it was just, it's so awesome to kind of see that, because we get so used to seeing them portraying a character a certain way, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's not them. They have a new personality, like they have a different vision, they have a different goal in mind now. So it's just great to kind of see that transition, especially when it's something quick, like which we see in Peacemaker, because one second, she's herself, next she's dead and being controlled by a butterfly.
Right.
Yep.
Talk about a gruesome, like,
it is not pretty.
No, and it just like in thinking about it too, like after seeing what the process is when a butterfly takes over, I was just picturing like the kids, like remember like the kids that got taken by the
Yeah.
butterflies, like how that all would have gone down.
Yeah.
Because it's
So-
painful. It's
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
It's not a good death.
No, my theory on the last episode, that last Peacemaker episode I did, which was the first 5 episodes, my theory was that the butterflies made host bodies so that they weren't killing humans. Because I was like, I think that's the twist. I think the twist is like that they made their host bodies. They didn't kill the humans, so they're not bad. They're just here, and we're killing innocent butterflies. But then when we realized that, like, no, they're literally like drilling
literally
holes
murdering.
into people's brains in order to like inhabit their minds. That's gross ass shit.
Right. It like remind me of like in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And the crazy like starfish, it
Right.
latches onto your face and you're dead instantly, essentially.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then it controls you.
Right.
And then, but if you take it off, it literally rips off your face.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was this plot too close to the Suicide Squad?
That is one of the I don't have very many negatives about this show, and even if I did, or like complaints, but even if I did, I still the pros outweigh the cons for me. But that was one of them, and still is I felt like the concept was a bit too similar to Suicide Squad because it's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
They're just
and
butterflies.
on that front, it basically mirrored what happened in the Suicide Squad. I was like, okay, so you have some intergalactic being
Mhm.
trying to take over
People.
Earth, essentially. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question, though, because again, my theories were totally incorrect. My theories in the first 5 episodes, but then again,
So
I mean-
innocent, those theories. Like,
yeah,
Right?
like,
Yeah.
like giving the butterflies a chance. Like, oh no, they're peaceful creatures. Oh,
I thought Myrn was the bad guy. I was like, okay,
So
Myrn
did
is the
I.
bad guy.
It
The other
was
butterflies
sus.
are good guys.
I'm not gonna lie. And again, this goes to show like James Gunn's ability to make creatures like aliens or like animals, like with Eagly. But like Myrn's death was sad. Like seeing
That
the
hurt.
butterfly like grab like Harcourt's finger, it was
That
so
was
sad.
really
And again, it's a
Mm.
testament to James Gunn and being able to make those types of you have feelings for those types of creatures.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I I was wondering whether I had two theories. I'm copping out a little bit. I had 2 theories were opposite theories. One was the butterflies are like Starro, or the butterflies aren't like Starro. So the aren't like Starro is like because I was like, oh, James Gunn wouldn't want to keep doing that same thing again. And then show like kind of like do a red herring and then like a left turn where it's like, oh no, they're good. They're unlike Starro. They're good, but we keep thinking they're gonna be like Starro, right?
Mhm.
I thought that was it, and I was proven wrong. But then I realized if they are like Starro, it's meant to mimic Starro to the point where will Peacemaker make the wrong decision again
Mm.
Oh,
to follow
Yeah.
orders? So I
Yeah.
think in a way it is to the purpose of the story to show that Peacemaker gets almost a mirror image like storyline to the movie, but this time he makes a different decision.
because it is a redemption story.
Right.
A bit,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's very interesting kind of when it comes to the comparison of like Starro and the butterflies, because with Starro, like Starro didn't come to Earth. He was brought to Earth by like Americans. So
Yeah.
like that's how, and it wasn't until that point where like the motivation changed. But with
Yeah.
like the butterflies, like they came themselves.
Right.
Mhm, They
So
chose to
I feel like
interfere.
that's the interesting difference in those like 2 storylines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, like the motivation becomes similar once they're actually on Earth.
Right.
Mhm.
The butterflies, how did you guys feel about the butterflies' backstory in that final episode of why they came to Earth?
Ooh.
They were on a dying world. Their world was dying. They left it, and they came here to make sure that humanity didn't make the same mistake. Problem is, They were doing it by killing people and taking over their
Yeah.
mind and forcing Earth to then
Yeah.
be better.
Yeah, because it was like one of those things to where like your heart's in it, sweetie, but like it's not
Yeah,
not
exactly.
the right way to go about it. Like
Yeah.
like when we got the explanation, I was like, it was one of those moments to where I was like, I see you and you're making valid points.
Yeah.
Like, yes, people are stupid. Like we do ignore science, all this stuff. Agreed. However, the way you're going about it isn't the right way. Therefore, human torpedo, activate. Like I was like,
Literally.
yeah.
It reminded me of with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where we had the flag
yeah.
smashers, and I was like, okay, I get your purpose, I support it, but the way you're going about reaching your goal, however, I don't vibe with that.
Exactly.
So that was the same with this. I'm like, okay, I understand why you came to Earth and how you want to help the human race not make the same mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you're going about it, I don't know. I don't think I can get on board.
Yeah.
Also, the fact is, we see them kill the whole police station. That, by the way, that
was
scene,
a lot of people.
That was
a great
crazy.
Scene,
crazy.
And I thought I was going to go to my grave. That I'm blanking out his name again, but the crazy cop that was working with Myrn.
I thought
he was already a butterfly.
Yeah, I know, that's what I thought too.
So
he's just a psychopath.
We never got an explanation for that. He's just crazy.
He's just weird.
Yeah,
I love that actor. By the way, that actor has been in other things.
Has he?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Hell on Wheels? That's where I know him from. There's it's like a Western. It was really good. It was on AMC around Walking Dead season 2, I think is when Hell on Wheels came out. And like AMC was picking on speed. Yeah. It only lasted like 3 seasons, but it was a Western that took place on a railroad town post Civil War. So you had freed slaves, like Common plays a freed slave. You have Native American population. Then you have like Christian missionaries that are like super weird trying to convert Native Americans. And like there was a lot of like really good stuff in it. So he plays this like foreign Scandinavian guy, and like he's hardcore in that show. And
now I'm interested. I'll have to look it up and potentially add it to my watch list.
It sounds a little familiar, but I don't think I'm too familiar with it.
It has what's his name? Anson Mount as the main character. Just playing this dashing guy on a horse, but like with like some dark past. It's pretty good.
Ooh.
Hell on Wheels.
That always makes for a good storyline.
Yeah.
But that guy, like, he does like random bit roles in which he always plays the weird guy. But like in this show, with all of them trying to smile when they're after they're taken over, and they do the creepiest faces.
That was unnerving, but I loved it.
Same. And I liked how it was kind of a reference too, because like right before it happened, I guess Goff, not Detective Song anymore, but like Goff, when she was like, or when he was kind of working in Song's body, when you remember like how she was like, enjoy it, and then was trying to smile, and then she was like, people don't realize how hard it, or like how something about like how hard it is to like learn how to smile and facial expressions with each person's body. And so I thought that was a clever reference to when that scene did happen and they're all smiling.
Yeah.
Like the little foreshadow.
It's so interesting though, because I mean, now they're controlling like this human body, and we know like it takes a lot of muscles to smile and to like form these different expressions. But now they need to basically manually do that. So knowing how many muscles it takes to smile, I'm like, wow, they were really working hard to get there.
Yeah. A testament to James Gunn is his ability to get a performance out of an actor, no matter who the actor is. Yeah. And it's something that I talked about. Basically, John Cena, at the beginning of his career, after WWE or WWF, in his acting career, I'm like, it's just going to be another wrestler trying to act and failing.
Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to take them seriously.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah.
But John Cena realized that he's good at comedy, and that he has something that The Rock doesn't, and that is humility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock, I love The Rock if you want to see The Rock just being awesome at everything, because The Rock is awesome. But The Rock is not somebody that is going to come to you and be like, hey, man, I have a problem. I had this, no, I had an example in my head that I'm like, nah, I don't need to go down this route. But like, you know, like I'm having a problem, I'm going to talk to you about it. But John Cena is going to, like, his characters would be like, I have no friends. I'm pushing people away. That's like John
Like,
Cena
there's layers.
in Peacemaker. Yeah. And there's humility
Yeah.
in that, right? The ability to lose that The
Yep.
Rock does not have.
And I would agree. And again, I'm not like I love The Rock. Everyone loved Dwayne.
Right.
But like as far as the characterization between the Rock characters that he's played and then comparing to John Cena, specifically with his most current role with Peacemaker, I was blown away. Like
Yeah.
whenever I see the Rock in something, I always see Dwayne. Even with Black Adam, I'm gonna see him as Dwayne.
The same guy.
Yes.
He really does.
In nearly every single movie, it's the same character.
Exactly.
Just in like a different font.
Yeah, literally. But like with John Cena, I saw Peacemaker. I didn't see John Cena. I honestly, during the whole show, and I'd have to remember, but like it would take me a minute to realize, oh wait, that's John Cena. Like he's a wrestler. He wasn't an actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because The Rock's whole gimmick is, I know I'm buff and I'm gonna kick ass, but wouldn't it be crazy if I was smart and I never lost a fight? That's literally like, that's all his things. It's like, okay, I get it, dude. You're buff and you're smart. That's your character, and you never lose a fight, ever.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever even seen him cry in a movie before, unless it's like a fake cry.
You know, I don't think I have either.
I'm trying to go through.
I'm trying to think of
I don't
every movie
think
I've seen.
the only time I'm thinking of like maybe Jumanji, he fake cried. It wasn't a real cry, but like
His best performances are Jumanji.
Agreed.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Jumanji, the second one, the second of the new ones.
Yeah.
I watched that recently where he plays Danny DeVito. Essentially.
Yeah.
Talk about another movie where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like make sense. Danny DeVito's character is in his body, but it's The Rock playing Danny DeVito. I thought that was the best Rock role to me.
Agreed. Because that showed his range. That showed that like he could interpret and play someone else that isn't really him.
Right.
That like actually gave him a chance to just showcase himself.
Right.
And
but he just chooses not to. He makes a conscious decision just to always be alpha in the room. And it's like, come on, man.
It gets old after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I'm really hoping with Black Adam. Again, he's Black Adam though. So like, it really isn't much of a difference. But like, I'm hoping that with this role, maybe he brings something more to it, like some more layers. Cause that's what I feel like we're missing with his performances are those layers.
Yeah. Right. I don't know whether we're going to get that out of Black Adam because
I don't think we will.
I guess we'll have to wait
I'm
and
being
see.
very
Hold
optimistic.
out hope.
Yeah. But that's why like Black Adam is supposed to be Shazam or Captain Marvel, depending on what you call that character. That he's the main villain, right? But the fact is he's getting his own movie before he even meets Shazam shows that like, oh yeah, he doesn't want to lose against Zachary Levi's character.
Yeah.
Because he would have to lose if he's the villain.
Yep. Unless for whatever, no, I don't know how they are going to explain it. Unless like they just don't want to film that and they're just going to have like a little prelogue to it in the movie. But I doubt that. Like I was kind of wondering the same thing when I saw, okay, so they're making a Black Adam movie without us having like the Shazam sequel and introducing his character there. All right.
I'm fine with it now. I think like, okay, Black Adam with the Justice Society. Okay, I'm on board for that. But the point being is, it is going to just be the same Rock character. You know?
Agreed. Yeah.
So, all right. I guess. With this show, with what are did you care about every single character, or was there a weak link?
I cared about all the characters, I think.
Yeah, because even when you talk about like the police, well, I mean, obviously I didn't care. I mean, I cared about the White Dragon because I'm glad that he died. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad that they got what they deserve.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the characters, because even when it came down to like the sheriff station and like some of the deputies there, like the one dancing guy, I thought he was funny. And so it's like I still feel like
Wait,
I
who's
kind
the
of cared.
dancing guy?
The big one, the big stupid one that would like always dance, or like he was kind of like the slapstick part of it, to where he just like would say something, like he was basically there for like a second and then he would like do something stupid, and I thought it was actually like honestly really funny because
Why
he would
am I
like
having trouble remembering who this character is?
oh,
I don't know. Anyway, okay, keep going.
but I feel like even down to like the police station, I cared about like each of the characters, not like full-heartedly, but like I at least cared enough to be like, okay, well, you know, I hope they make it home okay.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it.
Yeah. I think Harcourt might be the weakest character. Am I wrong?
I feel like there could have been a little more. Like I loved how she was, but it definitely felt like something was missing
Mm-hmm.
in her story, and which is why I'm also kind of like holding out a lot of hope for season 2, because especially seeing her relationship and how that evolved with Chris, and also just even with the rest of the characters, just her bond with them was really nice to see, and especially how it changed. But there was just something about her character that felt like it was missing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was getting that extra background and extra history into her, how she got there, essentially.
Because we got a little bit of it when she and Chris were kind of talking when they were, I think, like in episode 3, and then just throughout, kind of a little bit of her background, how like she graduated college and then went into the CIA, did some stuff, and then ended up running into Amanda Waller, gave her an opportunity. But yeah, I feel like, and I'm sure in season 2 we're gonna definitely dive deeper into her character. But I feel like out of all the character story arcs, because even Economos, I feel like had an arc. You know what I mean? To where
Yeah.
I feel like she was the one that I had. Like I left, the show ended, and I feel like I had the most questions still about her character out of all of them. Because like, why is she still? Because even though we were kind of seeing her break out of her shell, I feel like, I don't know, there was still like an element there to where I don't know. I agree with you guys. I feel like there's something missing with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Economos does I thought he was gonna die. I
really thought he was gonna die for a second.
I thought Harcourt was gonna die, and I thought Vigilante, like the end, which I'm wondering, and I've been hearing people say this too, is I'm wondering if they had a different ending originally before they realized that they were going to get picked up for a second season, and then did some reshoots, because they both, I thought, especially Harcourt, like they were showing her literally dying.
Yeah.
Right.
So that I was confused. I thought like
I really thought she was gonna die.
Me too.
At the end of the season.
I thought Goff was gonna take her over.
Me too.
That would have been,
or maybe not
twist.
Goff, but like that one butterfly.
That was the butterfly, right? Goff got out of Song's head at the end.
Was that Goff?
Yeah.
No, that one?
Yeah.
No, Goff was still with Song talking to Chris.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just a random butterfly, I think, that was trying to get into
Oh,
Harcourt.
no, but that got killed early. Like, they showed Adebayo, I think, killing that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Goff,
but I thought in that moment she was going to.
But when you see in the background Goff coming out of Song's head and flying away, and like I thought Peacemaker would like take a thing and kill him.
I see what you mean.
And then I'm like, okay, Goff is out there in whose body? Right? I'm like watching. I'm like, why is Vigilante like not having problems? Why, I'm trying to like figure out like who's gonna heal, who's gonna whatever. And then in the end, the butterfly is just there. And like
I honestly thought when Vigilante came back from like when he showed up afterwards, I thought he was gonna be a butterfly.
Yeah.
I'm glad he wasn't.
Right.
Me neither. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm glad he wasn't. But and also something we should talk about too, which is interesting, that Goff is still alive
Yeah.
and with Chris.
I think Goff has given up hope.
Yeah.
Like,
Because everyone else, all the other butterflies,
Yeah.
are dead now.
Yeah.
He no longer has his food supply, so
Yeah, so
eventually
he's gonna die.
going to die.
Right.
Yeah, which will be an interesting dynamic because I'm sure that he'll still be there for next season. So I'm assuming that he's probably going to be helping them to a degree with something.
Maybe take over
Or-
one last body before Goff dies.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
But the
Yeah.
funny thing is, Goff isn't taking over Chris's body. And I find it weird, by the way, calling him Chris. It's weird, but yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Peacemaker,
I'd be
you
like,
know?
who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, he could, right? He could just,
Mhm.
when he's flying right here, he could just go into Peacemaker's mouth and just take him over.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Because
I
in
think they
the
formed
finale,
that
he was by
bond.
himself.
I think they just like formed that bond, so it's like you wouldn't do this to a friend.
Yeah,
kind of situation.
because
Right.
again, like Chris could have killed him at the beginning, but he didn't, and then Goff could have
exactly.
killed him, and he didn't. So I think there's that mutual respect.
The bond is real. That
Yeah.
relationship is real, even if, you know, they don't agree.
Hmm. Exactly.
Let's talk about big spoilers, but again, who's watching
Oh,
listening to
yeah.
this episode, who hasn't watched it. The Justice League show up late.
Mm,
Yo.
I want to know your guys'
I-
thoughts, because I've talked about this before.
I mean, initially I was like, oh, there's no chance those are the actual actors.
I thought it was just going to be a silhouette. I thought it was
That's
just
what
gonna be
I thought
silhouettes
too.
that's
And
it.
then they
Yeah.
like brought it in, and I was like, oh my god, that's literally Jason Momoa
And
and
Ezra Miller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My jaw literally, I was like by myself in my room.
I know, say
And
I
go,
started,
no way.
my jaw dropped, and then I started laughing because I was like, this is actually insane.
Yeah. Yeah. That moment was
I
like,
didn't think they would tie them in like
I
that.
didn't either. I thought it was just going to be, and that's something that DC is kind of popular with too, is just making they're not like Marvel in the sense to where, like usually with Marvel and they have like they say something, usually there's like a bigger connection there, but like with DC, you can just name drop and that's kind of it.
Well,
Like
D-
Goth-
yeah.
like
Because,
yeah,
yeah,
let's go
no,
back to Gotham.
With Marvel, each cameo, each name drop has a very specific
Meaning.
purpose.
Yep.
And they tie it in.
right.
Yeah.
There's a way that they actually tie it in, whether
Yeah.
in that film or in a later film.
Because it's
But no,
important
yeah, with
to the
DC,
story.
you can drop any name, and it's like, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
now
They
you can.
dropped Batman's name earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
As
you
well,
can.
so
You used to not
they
be
can.
able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You used to like really not be able to. DC used to do this thing, like Arrow, for instance. They would like, they couldn't even say Gotham City and Bruce Wayne for the longest time until they were able to. But
Mhm.
like DC used to be a thing where they used to do what was called embargoes on
Mhm.
characters. So, for instance,
Mm.
in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, back then they were trying to figure out externally like what they were doing with Aquaman. They were like, okay, is he gonna get his own show? This was like back in Smallville time. They were like, okay,
Mm.
is Aquaman gonna get his own show? Whatever. So they were like, okay, we're not gonna allow Black Manta to be a villain in the Legion of Doom stuff in Justice League Unlimited. So they were like, yeah, but like we have this character, and they're like, yeah, his name is Devil Ray now, and he's not Black Manta. And like it's like this little known thing that like, yeah, they couldn't include Black Manta in it because that character was embargoed. There was characters like Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow that were embargoed around the time that Batman Begins
Mhm.
was happening. They were like, no, we can't have more than one because people are just going to get confused. But in
Yeah.
this show, they're name dropping Kite Man, Matter Eater
Mhm.
Lad, Batmite, like
Batmite, yeah.
There's
what?
So much.
They're literally calling Batman by name and talking about him. It's so weird.
And I think they even mentioned Green Arrow too.
They mentioned Green Arrow in
Yes.
this final
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's a brony, and he
Yeah.
goes
He's a
dresses the
brony.
back half of a horse. What? Stephen Amell tweeted about that. Did you guys see that?
No, did he
Mm-mm.
actually?
Yeah,
That's so
like somebody
funny.
was like, check hey Stephen Amell, did you see this scene? And he goes, he said something along the lines of like, no, I didn't get to see it because I'm too busy being a better wrestler on TV than John Cena or something like that. And like, I was like,
so
okay,
funny.
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
You know, because he has like a wrestling drama that he's doing on like Stars or something. That's what Stephen Amell's doing right
Interesting.
now. So, but seeing those characters pop up and people notice that like Cyborg and Batman didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And people were wondering why. And that is because some people are saying, does this take place after like Flashpoint?
Yeah.
In, like the Flash movie?
Ooh.
Like there are actors that we know are continuing, right? Ezra Miller, as
and
far
those
as
are the
we
ones
know.
that showed.
Jason Momoa has his movie come. Both of them have their movie come out
This year.
Is it this year?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Both of those movies are coming out this year?
We got a lot. We got a lot coming up.
Aquaman 2 and Flash?
I feel like one of them might be next year, no?
No, I'm pretty sure it's the Batman, Black Adam,
You're right. It's those 4.
And Aquaman.
Wow.
It's 4 movies from DC coming out.
DC's really gunning for it.
Yeah.
Gunning for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's The Batman, which is coming out in a week.
Oh, so excited.
Aquaman 2, Black Adam, and Flash.
Yep.
But Batgirl is being filmed right now. But that I think goes straight to HBO Max in 2023, I think.
Yeah, I think they were saying like early or mid 2023, something like
that. DC is I don't know. I don't know what to say about DC, but okay, we'll see how
I feel like it depends on how these projects go.
Yeah.
I feel like it depends on how these like the projects that are coming out this year, depending on how they go and how well they do with fans.
Yeah,
will be really telling for their like the future of DC films.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I think DC is well aware of that too, because with I guess the example too of them only showing really two characters that I know for a fact, where those same actors are going to be like keeping their roles, which is the Flash, Ezra Miller, and Jason Momoa. We know for a fact they're solidified in their roles and will be continuing on in the DCEU. But like Henry Cavill, because he hasn't been fired. He's stated that he still wants to be Superman, but DC is still unsure about that.
Yeah,
and
I don't think DC. I think DC's done with Henry Cavill.
I think so too.
Yeah,
which is very sad. But
yeah, and then Gal Gadot is supposed to do another movie, but obviously, like, she's not going to show up for this little cameo.
No. She's
which is like why with like her character with Wonder Woman, we just got the silhouette.
Yeah. That being said, it might not be like, oh, what characters are continuing, but what characters literally have movies either filming or finished filming right now that we could just grab them real quick.
Yeah. And it would have made most sense for his Flash and Aquaman because we're going to be seeing them this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note about Gal Gadot. I watched Death on the Nile and I realized I'm not a big fan of her acting. Like, it's
I don't
fine.
love her acting. It to me, she's pretty average. There isn't anything about like she give her a script, she can do it, do the work, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing that I've really noticed about her abilities that make her very unique and that draws me in to her characters and just to her abilities. Because everything I've seen her in so far, I'm like, it's mid. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Agreed. And that's how I felt with even the first Wonder Woman. I liked the first Wonder Woman. I wasn't a big fan of the second, but I did like the first one. I don't think anyone was. But but it's the biggest thing was her acting. And it's I feel like they could have picked plenty other actresses to fit that role and convey and bring something to the table.
Yeah.
I feel like especially with Wonder Woman too, like Diana's a great character. Especially to represent the DC side of things. But I feel like Gal Gadot was again pretty mid. She's pretty average. And it
wasn't an easy task for them though. Like
no.
The problem with Wonder Woman is because Wonder Woman is like one of the best characters DC has,
Agreed.
and she is a woman.
Mm.
So all the expectations of being literally in character, the perfect woman, right? She has to be everything. And Gal Gadot, you know, checks off a lot of the boxes. She's not everything. And so it's kind of tough. It's that, I mean, it's women characters in general have to just be perfect. Captain Marvel, for instance, got a lot of flack. But like,
and it's not even Brie. It's like just it was the script and the way that they wrote the script and the way that they wanted her to present herself. It didn't mix, unfortunately. Yeah. So I hope they fix that in the second one. But
and the haters. The haters don't make
screw the haters.
The haters' expectations that like she has to be perfect. But that's the thing. That's the thing with these comic book characters. The women, at least, the female characters, have to be perfect, quote unquote, for the haters not to hate them. The haters are going to hate them regardless.
Yeah, like I remember they first was Captain Marvel's specifically. They were bitching about the haircut. They were like, well, she doesn't have short hair. And then when she had short hair, they're bitching about the short hair. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Or they're talking
about... People will complain over the tiniest thing when it comes to these characters. And it's ridiculous.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then they talked about Captain Marvel. Her outfit wasn't like tight enough.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Like Tom Holland has a better butt. People were like,
I'm like, get over yourself. Like, you're really choosing like this aspect of it to criticize, like the original.
I feel like the people who were talking about Tom Holland's butt, I think they need to work things out for themselves. Which is fine. Which is fine. I'm just saying, like, don't be hating on Brie Larson's lack of butt and saying that Tom, like, it's the same people who are like, no, I'm not looking at his butt, but I'm also looking at his butt because
like
no, literally.
It's like, okay, then think about his butt then. Like, okay, just like be fine with that. Okay.
No one's gonna give you shit for it.
Yeah.
No, be confident. Be like, Tom Holland has a great butt.
Yeah,
there you go.
I feel like end sentence there then, right?
Yeah, don't compare it. It doesn't need to be compared.
Right.
If you like someone's butt, say it.
Right.
Say it with your chest.
Right. Jay Phrygian says, bruh, I never understood the Brie Larson hate. What was she in before Marvel that caused people to be this way? It wasn't about, it was a couple of things that started her hate, but they're not warranted. She does an amazing, like in Community, I loved her character in Community, and I wish Abed and her like got to hang out.
Oh, that's a different different actress. That's Allison Brie.
No.
Brie was in Community.
Yeah, Brie
Larson.
She was?
Yeah,
yeah, she's the coat check girl.
Oh my god, my brain is completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no, because with Brie Larson,
I've
seen a lot of her movies mostly.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my god,
Scott Pilgrim.
I love her in Scott Pilgrim. I don't know if you guys have seen Room. I
haven't seen
Room. I haven't seen Room, but I heard it's good. Yeah.
It's really good. And her in that movie, her portrayal of the character, and as well Jacob Tremblay, who plays her son in that movie, it's absolutely phenomenal. Both of their performances is so amazing. But the hate that she gets, I'm like, you sound so stupid when you are like talking shit about her, because she has a very strong voice.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't hold back. Like she sticks to her values and she speaks out on them because she knows it's important. And then people choose to shit on her for that.
What was the one thing that
she's talking about real things.
She said something, right? That people got so up in arms about. That's like was real. She said, what did she say?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
It was about representation.
It was about award shows and the people who are choosing which movies either get nominated or win are predominantly made up of white men.
Yes,
and then I think that's what she was criticizing, saying like we need more representation and diversity on these like groups of people who are choosing which movies, deserve these deserve recognition.
Because wasn't that the same year that she won her Oscar, and then there was that whole scandal of like Oscar so white? And like,
yes, I think so.
I think that's what started it.
Okay.
And then since then, people just started shitting on her for literally speaking the truth. But
because and then people took that ball and they ran with it. They're like, it's so funny. Dare I say, literal example of white fragility is
Mhm.
them being like, oh, so we don't matter? Oh, I guess you don't want. Oh, she said something along line. I forget. Anyway, they were like, I guess we don't have to watch her movies then, huh? I guess we don't have to do that then. Like white men being like, you're talking bad about white men, then I guess white men won't support you anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
I'm sure if
Our
I was her,
lives
I'd be
don't
like,
matter.
okay, fine, don't then.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a loss for me.
right.
And that's what's funny is like they think saying these things are really gonna like, ooh, ow, like it really
what
hurts. I'm not
she's
gonna sleep at
say,
night.
I'm sorry, I need your
Your
like,
white
approval?
support.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
no, it's literally like people on TikTok, when you put out a video that they don't like, and they're like, oh my God, okay, blocked, unfollowed. And I'm like, okay,
Don't
bye.
tell me. Yeah.
Yeah,
See ya.
Unfollow
I
then.
could care less.
You
Yeah.
drama queen? Like,
I'm
why?
like, not a loss. I
Yeah.
don't care. I clearly you're not who I want seeing my content anyway.
Exactly.
I like it when people say that though, because I will go in on other people's things and I'll make sure to block people before they even get to my page. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like
That's
I don't
cool.
want that energy.
No.
Exactly. And that's why like I feel like I want to start having more of a voice on TikTok because for the most part, I have some really good followers on there to where everyone's very supportive and nice. But
Yeah, I've seen your comment section. It's very supportive.
yes,
It's
which is
nice.
surprising for it being comic TikTok and like the Marvel comic area in general because it's not a pretty sight. Like it's like there's a lot of
It gets scary
toxicity.
out there.
Yeah. And so that's the thing though, is like I don't want to have those type of people following me or supporting me because I don't support them. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want them to be a voice for me.
No.
And so
I think it's kind of like you know, you own a club and you know, if you're gonna come into the club and be a dick, then you're not allowed in the club anymore. That's no
exactly.
like, no one's loss. We don't need but I'm a patron. You don't have to be a patron. We don't need your money. Take your money back and leave. Like,
No.
but I bought drinks. We'll refund you the drinks. Just get out of here. Like,
Yep.
we don't need you. We don't need you. We don't need your energy. You know,
Exactly.
come here if you want to enjoy this. This is to be enjoyed and be a part of the community. But once you show that you don't belong in the community by just being a dick, then get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And 9 times out of 10, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10,
Every
10
single
times
time.
approved.
So 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like people also like hate and make these huge waves because they just want attention.
They do.
They want
Yeah.
they want to be able to have that exposure, whether it be good or bad. They just want it. And so
Right.
that's why I've learned with being on social media, if someone's gonna hate, I ignore. I used to respond. I used to even respond with like if I ever do respond, and I was actually talking to my friends about this earlier, but like if I ever do respond to hate, I'll say something nice to them. And then 9 times out of 10 with that too, they'll delete their comment. Or they'll be like, oh, okay. And then they'll follow me.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like really? Like it's ridiculous. Like I don't have time for that negativity.
The toughest decision is when it's on the line and you're trying to figure out is it is it a joke or is it real? Are you actually
That's true.
Is this a bit? I don't know. Like, and then you have to like then you inquire and you're like, okay, maybe.
And sometimes too, like when I'm commenting on like whether it's like a post that I see on the FYP or like my mutuals, I'll try to make like a jokey comment and then I'm like, wait, but how do I make sure that they know that this is a joke?
Right.
Because it's like it's hard to tell with text.
Utilize the emojis basically.
Exactly. I usually do like something with the emojis, and anytime I see an emoji, I know it's a joke.
Okay. Yeah.
I know if I want to make it clear that I'm joking with someone, like I'm poking fun at them, but I'm like, okay, I want you to make sure, I want you to know that like I'm not being serious. I'll do the rolling eyes emoji and like the hand, like so I can be like, this is a joke. I love you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got a couple of people on comments. Just want to say what's up to Fluffy Penguin 222. Wherever you guys are watching us, wherever you guys are digesting this content, please like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, do your thing. We got a couple of likes on YouTube. wherever you guys are, click follow, whatever platform. Definitely helps us as the Keeg. And then definitely, as you can see on the live stream, go follow Ellie and Justice on their social media as well, because it's definitely worth it. I guess the closing question that I have for everybody for Peacemaker is, where do we see season 2 going? Is it going to be completely unrelated? A lot of the plot lines are pretty much done, other than Goth and Goth and Judo Master, right?
Yeah. Those are the only ones kind of left open, which again is, I guess, a testament to why, like, I feel like just this show in general, like, I don't have a lot of bad things really to say about it, because it's overall a good show. Like, it has a good beginning and a perfect ending, kind of wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah.
But then it's like, at the same time, where does that leave the next season? And I would assume that the next season could potentially kind of go back into like the X-Force, because now
the X-Force?
Adebayo or
Task Force X? Suicide Squad?
Task Force X, X-Force. Yeah. Them,
X-Force.
Because X-Force, I was like, hold on.
Deadpool 2, yeah.
Deadpool, yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
The crossover.
I mean, there is a crossover. It's called Vigilante. Vigilante was essentially, I mean, not in every shape, but like Vigilante is kind of James Gunn's Deadpool.
That's kind of how I felt too, and that's how I see it. And they've made multiple comparisons. Like, I think Ryan Reynolds even like made jokes about it.
Yeah.
But Task Force X. There we go. It might kind of dive into maybe a bit of that, since Adebayo basically outed her mom in that whole project, and so we saw Amanda Waller in the end, like, what the fuck? And
yeah,
so
like
I
her
think,
reaction to all that.
Yeah. And so it might go into that territory a little bit, to where we see the repercussions of those actions.
Yeah.
And so it might be like an Amanda Waller versus, you know, her daughter and the 11th Street Kids.
Yeah. The 11th Street Kids, that's what they called, right? The band or something? It was like a band that they were bonding over?
I don't remember that like, I know that they call themselves that, but I don't remember where that reference came from. But I'm assuming it is a band or something.
It's when Peacemaker talks about this band that he likes, and then Economos is like, I like that band too, and he's like, what?
Yeah, when they're in the
that's
driving.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 11th
I'm saying forms of media always bring us together, whether it be music, movies, whatever it is. It brings us together.
Justice, as you were talking about this, I started getting so many ideas, but I want to hear Ellie's idea of where this is going.
I mean, I kind of agree with Justice. I think it's going to be dealing with like the repercussions of what happened in season 1, but at the same time, I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to do, because there really is that question of, are they just going to kind of stick to Peacemaker and his story, or are they going to connect it to any other characters? Are they going to introduce anyone else? So with that in mind, we might have to wait until we see some of the other projects.
Yeah.
And seeing how those go. Because I think there was an article where John Cena was saying how he would love like Black Adam to interact with Peacemaker.
I've seen that too, yeah.
I mean, like, who knows? Like, that could happen. We'll have to wait and see how the Black Adam movie goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many possibilities, and like that's the thing when it comes to like Marvel and DC content. You never know what's going to happen and what path they're going to go on.
Yeah. And I think too, James Gunn has a couple other projects, but for sure another one outside of Peacemaker, a series that he's going to be working on too. And so I think potentially it could also tie into that.
Yeah.
Maybe for the second season.
That would be wonderful.
I mean,
honestly, as long as James Gunn is on the project, I have complete faith in it.
Yeah.
Right.
That it's going to be really good.
He's earned it. He's earned it.
He's earned it. I like, after the Suicide Squad, after seeing that, I was like, okay, I know it's going to be good, because he really delivers.
And it's like a testament too, to where it's like, we know he could do Marvel movies. Like we've seen him succeed with those, but to then bring the James Gunn formula, I don't know whether they picked it up from Marvel or maybe a mix of both from like him and Marvel, and then bringing that to DC and still succeeding and bringing DC wins now when DC wasn't really having them is again just a huge testament to where it's like I have full utter faith in James Gunn. Like he could throw the weirdest, which he does. He'll throw the weirdest ideas and concepts into something, and anyone else that were to even touch that, it would be cringy, it would be horrific, it would be trash. But when it's 100%. James Gunn, you love it.
Yeah. Where the season leaves off, right? We have Judo Master. We have no more butterflies, essentially, except for Goff. And Goff is hanging out with Chris. We have Hardcore relearning the use of her legs or whatever. Like, she's going through physical therapy.
She's just in recovery.
Right. Myrn is dead. Economos is working at Bell Rev again.
Yeah.
He's gone and
he's back there.
He's in this like closet area with a laptop.
Pretty much.
So he's not he's not in the main room, which is weird. But we also remember Adebayo like blew the lid on Task Force X. People are not going to be liking Task Force X, or, you know, imagine in real life if somebody said, oh yeah, our worst criminals in the world could get off early because they're doing black ops missions for the government. We'd be like, what?
What? I know.
Yeah.
And so like Task Force X is going to have a problem. You know, and so there's a couple of different developments. Also, keep in mind, Chris is seeing his father in his mind.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. I definitely think they're going to explore more of that in season 2 for sure. That's
from the comics too. His dad's ghost is in his helmet or something.
I remember reading,
thing. But like, yeah.
I remember, or not reading, but watching a video of someone explaining that because I thought that was interesting, an interesting concept when I saw it. So then I like looked it up, and I didn't realize that.
I just came up with the best idea that DC could do.
Let's hear it.
And that would get everybody on board. There needs to be a Justice League versus Task Force X movie. Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And the plot,
I would love to see that.
The plot is Task Force X anyways wasn't supposed to exist previous. But now that it's public knowledge, now you have heroes keeping an eye out for Task Force X. So Waller continues with Task Force X, and then like they can't complete a mission because the Justice League gets involved. And
that is clever.
It would help us get used to a new version of the Justice League, whatever DC wants to push forward. They're like, oh yeah, this is our new Justice League, without it being an actual Justice League movie. But then it also gives like a good villain for the Justice League to fight, which is some of these characters that we know, and then Justice League, right? I think it could work.
That would actually be ideal, because where my mind's going is, again, in order for DC to start having wins, I feel like you would want to have someone like Gunn, not necessarily at the helm, because I don't think I would want to see, there's some movies that I feel like might not be in good taste for James Gunn, like Superman. Wouldn't really want to see a James Gunn directed Superman movie.
Pretty much any Justice League. Justice League shouldn't. No. James Gunn's vibe works for the outcasts. It doesn't work for like who we got to really look up to.
Yeah, it's like the outcast, it's the underdog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he really shines.
Right.
Exactly. But to be able to have him there is kind of like a resource and a tool to use to help, which would be his characters that he's writing. Which again, example with the whole Justice League cameo, that worked because not necessarily that he wrote the Justice League, but like had them interacting with each other, like his writing interacting with the Justice League characters.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that would actually be a really good way to have people.
There you
go.
What it looked like is you just got like really close. It like looked like you just got really close to the camera.
I know.
Oh,
like,
really?
What happened?
Yeah.
My phone's at 20%. But to have, I think that would be really a really good idea to have DC have some wins, because James Gunn clearly knows what he's doing, and I feel like I don't want to say that he's DC's hope, but I feel like he's
Honestly,
definitely,
I would say it.
I want to say it. I feel like, yeah.
You know
I
who
feel
could,
like James
who
Gunn is
could
kinda-
tackle a Justice League versus Suicide Squad movie?
Who?
Taika Waititi.
Oh my god, he would have so
Ooh,
much fun with
that
it.
would be so good.
It's a very
I mean,
similar vibe, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Taika
it really
could do
would
it.
be.
That would be amazing. I mean, I don't think Taika would be Marvel, but like if there was ever a way,
Taika was in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had
that's
this little
true.
cameo.
That's true.
Ratcatcher,
And I'm sure that
OG.
DC would be down. Like,
Oh, yeah.
do you think there would be? Well, I guess no, because they're letting James Gunn do Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
That would be
I
amazing.
think so. There's been a lot of overlap, and we've had many actors playing roles.
Yeah.
In
For
both.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In both areas, so I think it's
Yeah.
very much possible.
That would be great.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Justice League versus
year.
Suicide Squad movie. Because there's a Justice League, or there's the Kill the Justice League game that's coming out.
Yes.
They're already entertaining the notion of Justice League and Suicide Squad kind of living in that same universe on the video game side. Why not in the movies? I think you could reintroduce a new Justice League lineup that is your current Justice League lineup, while also capitalizing on the fact that everybody loves Suicide Squad and really showcase them being at odds. Throwing a premise out there. Suicide Squad.
Hey
goes
DC, if you're listening.
Yeah.
If you're listening, DC, listen to Dimitri.
Like the Suicide
Hire
Squad
Dimitri.
has to kill a dictator, and the Justice League is there to protect the dictator and to bring the Suicide Squad in. And then you're like, why would they do that? But it's like it makes sense why the Justice League would be, not there to kill the dictator, right?
Yeah.
Black Adam.
It'd be great to kind of just like see
Black
that
Adam would.
conflict
Black
and
Adam
like
would have no
seeing if
issue.
anyone would, be motivated to switch sides.
Right.
And just kind of like seeing that, or like the whole psyche behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Also, I just want more Harley Quinn.
Oh my god,
Same.
I love Harley Quinn so much, and Margot Robbie just kills it as her character.
Phenomenal.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, give me anything. I was literally texting my friend about this last night because I was watching the Suicide Squad, and I was like, just give me more Harley Quinn.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me another movie, please.
We need another Harley Quinn movie.
Give me like 5 more. I will consume.
We need a Harley
and all
Quinn
of it.
trilogy.
They have to. I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
I think the best DC movies have been the ones that really take care in the character work and whatnot. Like I love Birds of Prey. Like the Birds of
Oh
Prey
my
movie.
gosh.
I loved it. I
Me
love the
too.
Gotham that they show. I love the characters. And although my biggest gripe is that Cassandra is not Cassandra, that's my problem because I love the character in the comics. Other than that, like seeing Margot Robbie and Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress and like doing that stuff, and then the Gotham, like the lived in Gotham kind of feel.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It's
Yeah.
I love. That was one of my last movies I saw in theaters pre-lockdown.
Same.
Oh my
same.
gosh! And
My friend and I saw it
I'm
like
so
a week
happy
before.
about that. I was like, what a way to kind of end off the movie theater experience because it was so good.
I saw it twice in theaters, and then I saw it once during like 2020 or 2021 with my mom at home. I was like, "Hey, Mom, I think you might like this. Let's see."
It was so well done.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you for putting it on Netflix. Well, okay, in Canada, it's on Netflix.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're
Lucky
in
us.
Canada. Things are different over there. It's so
because here is it on
HBO Max. HBO
Yeah,
Max.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
We don't have HBO Max, so
I'm
You
so
don't?
sorry for that.
No.
How do you watch?
How do you watch
Never
so
mind.
we have Hulu.
illegal sites?
But no, not at all.
No.
I know. I definitely don't cheat the system.
No.
At
You
all.
don't ever.
But we do have Hulu, which those shows are on. But the thing is, here I don't have Hulu, so I don't cheat the system, and
You just have a free trial.
I have a free trial via someone else's email address and password.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Look, it's not Canadians' fault that it's not being offered. It's not your guys'
I'm like
fault.
root of HBO.
Exactly.
I'm like, you're really making it hard for me to watch Game of Thrones over and over again. Like, thank you for that.
Come on, HBO.
It's kind of how Paramount Plus announced that they're going to do the UK. They're coming to the UK, and then all the Canadians that I know are like, "What about us?" And I'm like, "Oh,
yeah."
Wait,
There's
you
so
guys
many
don't have
listeners.
Paramount?
I don't think so.
Paramount Plus
Does
isn't
not sound familiar.
Paramount
They're
Plus
not
isn't
big,
worthwhile unless you like Star Trek for the most part.
Oh, okay, well.
But
Yeah.
they're going to be expanding
that.
soon to like Transformers and Ninja Turtles content and that sort of thing, which is cool. But like, it's not a must-have. HBO Max is my favorite streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
streaming
I would
is
agree.
really different though, because even with our Disney Plus, it's very different from what you are getting on Disney Plus, because we have the Stars extension.
Okay.
So we get a lot of like different movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
With like Pam and Tommy, for example, like
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
on Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can watch it on Disney Plus, and that's
is
just
so
like an
weird.
example of a
That's
TV
so
show.
weird. That's an interesting show to Disney Plus would be on.
Because
But,
Disney
I know,
Plus,
but with their extension, they have like more mature content,
yeah.
but you have to essentially verify that the account you're on can have access to it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's essentially, so you have to like type in your password again, so you can make it so if you have kids
Yeah.
and they have their own like account on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
you can restrict
That
like
makes
that
sense.
content from them.
That's like
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
streaming services, though, right?
Exactly.
Have that kind of kids option.
Yeah.
It just is weird that Disney Plus, even for adults, Disney Plus in America has been like, oh yeah, nothing too adult. Even though it's like,
Yeah,
I'm an
literally,
adult.
it's
I'm
like-
a damn adult. Like, give me
Yeah.
what I want. But now they're gonna bring Netflix Marvel into Disney Plus, which is literally the most adult they've gotten. Like,
Yeah.
you know, by
It's
far.
interesting though. It's very interesting because like for example, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Canada, that's already on Disney Plus.
Okay,
And
it's
I
not
don't know,
here.
it's just exactly.
Yeah, it might be
So
on
it's just
Hulu.
it's very interesting that I don't know, the way that they go about it, because I remember when Deadpool got put onto Disney Plus, that was like the first time
Yeah.
where they had something that had like slightly more mature content on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And then I remember when Hamilton was being put on Disney Plus, Disney was like, you get like 2 or 3 like F-bomb drops only, and they censored the best one, which I like will
Yeah.
never get over. They censored one of the best ones in the recording.
Mm.
But like they have some control over it. But then of course with the extension, they're like anything goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they had planned, but they got something planned. And
I
I'm
think they're
excited
just
for
doing
it.
what they can to like draw in more people
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
and whatnot. Because
Yeah.
again, like they're a streaming service and they have many competitors and they need to stand out and be like, we're the best one.
Again,
Yeah.
HBO Max has the best range of content.
Agreed.
That's why I'm so mad. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because we have Crave and you can get the HBO extension. You can
Oh.
pay a little extra for,
Yeah.
but I'm like, again, that's not a streaming service I have at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my gosh, they're getting so expensive.
Yeah. Some of the podcasts that I listen to advertise for NordVPN. I'm not going to explain exactly why I'm bringing up NordVPN, because we're not getting paid by NordVPN to advertise NordVPN on the Keeg. But on some of the podcasts that I listen to, they advertise NordVPN.
I've seen that too. I've seen some like creators talk about it as well.
Right. Perhaps I might talk to NordVPN about, seeing if we can get a little bit of sponsorship. But
You should.
I think especially our friends, our Canadian friends, our friends across the pond, might benefit from looking up a VPN, perhaps NordVPN. So,
It would be nice. It would be nice.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show and taking time out of your Saturday, because yes, this is a Saturday. Taking time out of your Saturday to be here talking with me about Peacemaker Season 1. Did you guys get all you wanted out of your system as far as Peacemaker is concerned?
Yes.
Oh, I think there was like just like one last thing
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up earlier.
Yeah.
So the whole like situation with Myrn, I remember when he got caught in that explosion.
Yeah.
My mind did go. I'm like, how did you survive that?
That's what
But
I was thinking
for the
too.
life of me, my mind did not go to, oh, he's a butterfly. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just like, what are you like souped up on something like
yeah, like
because I found it so hard to believe that an average human being would survive that blast.
agreed.
So same with like Harcourt, where she became a little suspicious of how he survived it. I was like, what? How?
Yeah.
I just
Explain this to
assumed
me.
it was comic book logic. Where it's
That's
like,
what
sometimes you
right?
survive explosions.
That's
Yeah.
literally what I thought too. I'm like, okay, you get basically beat to shit, but
Right.
you walk away just fine.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
comic book logic. It's fiction. Why think too deep into it? So I just let
Economos
it go.
snaps his leg, like
Literally.
jumping over a
I didn't
fence.
think it was gonna snap because the sound effects didn't sound like it was like he broke his whole leg. I thought it was just like, oh, like he tripped.
Oh, it was
and
like
then
a
you
brutal
see his
break
leg.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the shot real quick where Adebayo is like running and like screaming and shooting all these people?
I was like, that's my girl.
Yeah, and she was like, I was trained for this, and then you just
Yeah.
see her running.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that coupled with her using the human torpedo and hitting the
Yes.
wall, and I'm like, come on.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the actress, but I love her so much. Because I watched Orange Is the New Black, and
Oh yeah.
I love her character
Danielle.
in that show.
Danielle something.
Brooks. Yeah, I
Danielle Brooks.
loved. Yeah, that's her name. I love. Oh my god, I love her. So to see her in the show was a joy. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming on and talking about all this with me. I'm glad that we got to essentially do 2 Peacemaker episodes, as the Keeg is concerned, 2 Peacemaker episodes. I'm glad that I got you guys on this final like season 1 wrap up of this. For anyone out there watching our live stream, again, you're watching us on Volume, you're watching us on Twitch, on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please like, follow, subscribe, click the bell, do your thing out there. The Keeg does multiple shows. I will definitely have Justice and Ellie on again for some other show, because the shows, they come and go, but they still keep coming. So
I'm like, this was really an audition to show up again on the show.
Yeah,
no,
basically.
No. You guys,
yeah.
you guys
That's
quote
why I
unquote
was stressed.
auditioned. You guys quote unquote auditioned by your content that you do online, and just by being awesome people. So thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you for even inviting us, because this was my first podcast ever, and I really enjoyed this. This was fun.
I know,
So
you beat me into having Justice on because I thought our episode was gonna come out first.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Dimitri beat me to it.
This was
though.
the Justice. This was the Justice premiere. By the way, how confusing, Justice, does it get? Just having your name be like a word that it like Justice League, and like, does it get confusing?
It doesn't get confusing, but I always get people to where like I'll say, "Oh, my name's Justice," and they're like, "Oh, Justice League," and I'm like, "Yeah." Or they'll be like, "Do you work for Batman? Because he wants justice." I'm like, "Okay."
Like, you got jokes.
Yeah, you got jokes, kid.
Yeah.
But it does get confusing more so when I say it. Like when like just when you say your own name and you kind of like start to disassociate and you're like, wait, that's my name.
Yeah.
But usually with other people, I'll like hear Justice and then they'll say League and I'm like, okay, it's not me.
Oh. Yeah.
They're not talking about me.
Yeah. Justice. What's your social media? If you could say that out loud for me. And then what you got coming up, if you got any plugs to do,
Yeah, so my social media, the handle's the same on both TikTok and Instagram, but it's J Likes Comics. And then as far as content goes, I typically make funny videos pertaining and relating to nerd stuff, specifically Marvel now. But I'm trying to get more DC and Star Wars content involved in that. And a new project for me that I'm working on is making more actual skits with my voice. I've made a few, which have done pretty well, but I'm wanting to make more of those because they're fun to do.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of TikTok wanting to push them.
Yeah.
Because TikTok's very specific with what they push and what they don't.
Yeah.
But I'm wanting to start to do that more and also make more I don't know if you'd say like opinionated videos, but just more videos where I'm actually speaking on things opposed to just joking about things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. those are my current, at least within the next month. My goal is to start making for my content.
Yeah, you do amazing stuff. I love your stuff. I crack up. I forget the first one that I saw, but I saw your one first, and then I saw somebody else copy it, and I'm like, fuck this person. Like,
Justice
it
did it better.
happens. Like, and that's why I want to start making more original. I mean, it's not that my stuff isn't original because it comes from my brain, but like, I want to be able to start making stuff that's harder to copy. Because like, if I'm making like a full-fledged skit, or like if I'm saying my opinion on something, no one can really copy that. But like, if I'm using an audio with just captions, it happens all the time. I'm numb to it, to where no tea, no shade, but like bigger creators that are well known have copied plenty of my things.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, at that point, it's like, you can't really be like, hey, you copied me, because no one knows.
It's so dumb.
But
it's so lazy.
Why? It's not
really
that hard to listen to, especially if you're a true fan and you know, like, about certain things or how things play out, or just care enough about your content. Like, because I'll listen to sounds, and usually I'm pretty quick to think of a concept. But like, if I can't, I'll go back and I'll research and I'll look up different times when this context, like, try to figure out a context on which this can work on.
Yeah.
And it's really not that hard, especially if it's like something already given to you that's in like on TV shows or movies or comics. Like, it's not that hard.
Right. I mean, I would say content creation can be hard, but if you have a million plus followers, you got there somehow. Make your own damn content. Make your own damn content. Yes. No, content creation is hard. Like, trust me, it's a lot of work. Yeah. But like, it's still like, it's not like when you have that type of following too, like, it's not as hard to, I guess, get that exposure. Yeah. To where like, you can literally make a video about, you know, anything relating to your brand, and it's going to get views guaranteed. Opposed to me, to where like, you know, I have to work 10 times harder and then hope that I get at least 1,000 views. Yeah. Or crazy idea. If you have a million plus things, that means your views are doing pretty well and you're getting paid for it. You know, even if it's not getting paid millions of dollars, I get it. I get how it works. It's pennies on the dollar. But throw Justice $100. Like, put him like Venmo you. If you're gonna steal an idea, Venmo the person $100. I think it's good.
Literally.
Especially if your views, that person's views hit like 1 million plus, right? Like, or their likes. Like, really, I think the likes hit 1 million plus. But the point being is like, god damn, like,
it gets the attention.
Shoot them 100.
Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, easily. With not just my content, like, because I've seen it happen with other mutuals of mine. It's just it's part of the game, I guess. But like, still, like, really all you got to do is like, because I've even had people like hit me up and be like, hey, I like this idea, do you mind if I use it? I still would rather you just think of something else yourself, or give me something in compensation. But like, ultimately that's more respectable than just taking it.
From now on, I'm just gonna go through your content and steal your stuff, just so you know. The Keeg is now
just so you know.
For you, and since you told me right up front, I think that's okay.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
cool.
I respect you for that.
Thanks. Yeah. Say it to my face that you're gonna steal straight from me.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Like, that's the same thing like in school too. Like, when people would steal my stuff, like, tell me you're gonna take my notebook. Yeah. Tell me you're gonna take my notebook with the answers, and it'll be okay. Right. I won't be as upset.
Or don't say you're gonna borrow something if you're just gonna take it and not give it back. Like, don't say.
Yeah, can I borrow your pencil?
It's like,
okay, I'm never gonna see it again.
Yes,
you just take it.
You're not actually borrowing it.
No. Right. Could I borrow like your some of your bread? Are you gonna take a bite and then give it back? Like,
oh, tastes good. Here, have it back.
Here's your sandwich back. Okay.
Thanks, Justice, so much. Again, if people aren't following Justice on social media, definitely go follow Justice. Jay likes comics, pretty much anywhere on social media. Ellie, what is your social media? Where can people find you? What do you got coming up? What do you want to plug?
Okay. On like every social media platform, I am Oh Shoot Podcast. If you want to listen to the podcast, I am on most listening platforms, Spotify, Apple, many podcast listening apps. So I mean, if you want to check out my listening options in full, just check out the link tree in my social media bios. But as for what's coming up, I have many, many episodes planned out in no particular kind of upload order. I will have an episode on there's some like logistically, I've got some things to figure out, but
Yeah.
got an episode on like the Batman coming out, throwing it back with the Mighty Ducks. I'm gonna have an episode with one of my good friends who's into film, going to be talking about their experiences, what inspired them to get into film, and what they have coming up. And actually, an 8-part series coming out with Justice, with Game
Wow.
of Thrones. One episode is going to be each season, and that's going to be something to look forward to because Justice is watching Game of Thrones for the first time,
Oh,
which is very exciting because I love Game of Thrones. Been a big fan for a while. So I'd say like that is probably one of the biggest projects I have this year that I'm very, very excited for the podcast.
Awesome. I'm excited I'm excited that you guys are working together. I'm excited that you guys have new content coming out. You guys are doing great. And so if nobody's following Oh Shoot Podcast, go follow Oh Shoot Podcast. For anyone out there still watching, Justice and Ellie do great content. So definitely go follow them where they are creating. But thank you, Justice. Thank you, Ellie, for so much for coming on the show. Thank you to the audience out there for watching. If anyone feels like looking up our Patreon, we got patreon.com/The Keeg Show. We're trying to get more subscribers so that we can fund more projects for the Keeg. I was talking about it, I think, pre-show, just talking about how I would love to do more after shows for these TV shows, but we just don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the time and money to kind of, do that sort of thing. So go to patreon.com/The Keeg Show. Find a tier that works for you. There's something as small as like a $5 tier, and subscribe and help donate, to the Keeg. All that money will go back to the Keeg and fund the projects that we have here. Because we have the Keeg Live that we do either every Saturday or every other Saturday, depending on the week. We also have Comic Talk on Thursdays. We have the Keeg Back, which is our hangout show on Friday nights. And then we do our after shows for Marvel and Star Wars live action. So we want to do more. I want to do a D&D show. I have a game show that I have we already did the prototype for it. So like we already did it. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can make that work. So
nice.
There's a lot
Yeah.
for the Keeg. And problem right now is time and money. So we're working on that. Definitely check out patreon.com/The Keeg Show for that. But as far as this show is concerned, thank you for watching on Volume, on Twitch, on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. You can find our social media at The Keeg Show on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, The Keeg Show. That's probably the easiest way you can keep track of all our stuff. And then if you're listening to the podcast, we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. So you can definitely stay tuned. This episode will be turned into a podcast. So check that out and check out what else we got to offer. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. This has been the Keeg Live talking about Peacemaker. Take care, everybody.